Hello and welcome to the Average FPLers podcast. My name is Russell, and as always, I'm joined by Mike. How are we doing?
Ahoy, hoy.
Ahoy. So, the season has begun. We've got through game week 1, and we're now looking ahead at game week 2. So, let's bring up the topics, have a look what we're going to discuss. Not too much, really, but we'll obviously look ahead at game week 2, reveal our teams, talk about potential transfers and maybe who we're picking for captain. I'm going to look at some midfield options for 7 million or less. And then we'll have our FPL4 Player Picks for game week 2. So, up first, you, Mike. Put your team up first.
Okay. I didn't even get a result from game week 1, though.
No, it's at the top of the screen.
It's at the top of the screen.
Yeah. So
All right.
so game week 1, you got 76 points,
I
and
did
that
get 76.
takes you to 608k.
Lovely.
Yep. Your top scorer was Salah with 14 points.
Not
Your
my
lowest
captain, then.
scorer was Areola with 1. And yeah, your
Yeah,
captain was Isaac, and he got you 10 points.
yeah. That one's unfortunate due to an early red card by Fabian Schär.
Harsh
So,
red card as well. It shouldn't have been a red card. 2 yellows.
well, if you're going to do that, you're going to get sent off, right? I mean, Beretta Diaz kind of made it a real,
I think
the
they
actual
either
performance
both
of it.
got sent off or both yellow cards because they're both as bad as each other. It's just
That's true.
Diaz
That's true.
decided to dive on the floor like he'd been shot.
Yeah, I enjoyed the performance.
Mm.
Shakespeare, eat your heart out, kind of thing.
Yep.
So yeah, that kind of unfortunately jammed me up really because I had Gordon as well, and the whole complexion of the game changed. Like Murphy got hooked.
Yep. Well, I had Murphy, so that was annoying.
Yeah, I mean a lot of people had Murphy because he had such a cracking preseason, and then Eddie Howe had no choice but to make changes.
Yep.
But yeah, 76 points, decent return. Could have been better if I'd captained Salah by the power of 9, so I could have got 85, 84 region.
Yeah, we
You
should
live
have
and
all
learn.
known. He was, what is it, the 9th season that he scored on the opening day?
Scored or assisted.
Yep.
I've had him every season for the
Yeah.
opener, which is rare someone can say that because I had him game week 1 the first ever season that he was in the league because I rated him. So yeah, proud moment. That's why I went with him instead of Haaland.
And that paid off.
Oh,
Haaland scored, but yeah.
it could have been more. Chelsea was shocking. And all over the place. And incidentally, I've got 42 players. They're trying to currently sell 15 as we speak.
Yeah. Well, I don't
That's
want
fun.
Chilwell or Sterling anymore, which
No,
is kind of funny.
Sterling's got 3 years left on his deal, and he's on
Yep.
325,000 a week allegedly. So that's funny
Mm.
because there's not many places that people are going to find a new home for him unless Chelsea cover some of his wages, if not half.
Mm.
But we'll get to that. I
Mm.
guess we'll go for my game week 2 team. I set my team up to be good for at least the first 4 to 6 weeks. So I've got Areola in goal, Alexander Arnold, Pedro Porro, Robinson. And then in midfield, I've got Saka, Smith Rowe, Gordon, Mo Salah, who's currently my captain. And then up front, I've got Muniz, Solanke, and Isak. My bench is Fabianski, Mbumo, Hall, and Okoli. So
Did you have Manice last week, or was that a
I
late
did, yeah.
addition?
No, I didn't. I didn't. I might have had him when we did the recording
I don't remember
because I
him
think
in your
no,
team, but
um I think that's the only other change I made. that, and I knew Trippier probably wouldn't start, so I did Trippier down to Hall.
Yeah.
Um, and I had Muniz. I think I might have
Oh,
had him.
and Bruno, did you have him?
I had him Bumo. Yeah, I started him last week. He got 9 points.
Mm.
I was fairly certain I was going to have him from game week 1. I found it genuinely interesting that people were suggesting not to go for Mbumo and to go for Bruno Fernandes. And I was like, that sounds insane to me, but okay. Um, and the idea behind Mbumo was I was going to start in game week 1, bench him for game week 2, and then start in
Mhm.
game week 3, and then
Mhm.
make a decision for 4, 5, and beyond. Yeah, so I've still got 1.5 million in the bank with this team as well. Um,
Blimey.
yes, I'm flushed with riches. Unfortunately, I can't Gordon to Foden because I think Foden is 9.5.
He
So
is 9.5. Yeah.
what I do semi regret is that I didn't start last game week, because what I did have when I was fairly certain Kieran Trippier probably wasn't going to start game week 1, I I originally took him out and put Vardio in and had Vardio starting in my lineup,
Mm.
which would have netted me 1 extra point over Hall last week because Hall got booked, so he only got 5. And Vardio was obviously playing at Ipswich at home this week, which would have given me some skin in the Man City versus Ipswich game. Other than that,
Oh yeah, you
it's
don't
not
have
going to
any
cover the whole.
City, do you?
I've not got a single Manchester City player, so that is going to be a tough watch.
Hmm.
Um,
I can see why you're potentially looking at bringing in City players.
yes, uh, but I don't necessarily want to, because I quite like the team I've got.
Mm-hmm.
Because obviously, if I bring in Foden, it's at the expense of Saka. And Saka looked
Mm-hmm.
great game week 1, so I
Mm-hmm.
shouldn't really be selling him and moving my chips around. And then Vardiol would be for Porro, I guess, but that's only if Porro is confirmed out and injured. And even then, I don't really need to do it, because I can just let Porro go to bench and Hall would come in away to
Mm-hmm.
Bournemouth. And Newcastle looked fine. Um,
Mm. Livramento got 7 points. He was on my bench, annoyingly, but
yes, Livramento is going to be quite a good pick, because Kieran Trippier had the captaincy stripped from him and he is leaving.
yeah, I see he wants out apparently.
Yeah, that's
Uh,
confirmed. He is asked to leave. I'd imagine there must have been a discussion over the summer where he was told his minutes were going to be reduced, or somewhere along that lines. And
mm,
his favourite landing place now is potentially Everton.
yeah, that's what I say.
Um, Unfortunately, because he's valued at 6 million, I don't know if that's a good pick. It would be quite nice.
No.
I'd be tempted to gamble on him, but a 6 million Kieran Trippier playing at Everton doesn't sound all that
Well, unless
as
he does
enticing.
what he was doing in Newcastle initially, where he played, they had
Yeah,
a
but
clean sheet, he got hooked, and then conceded.
I don't think he'll do that at Everton, because Everton, according to
Need him,
Sean
yeah.
Dyche, yeah, they've only got 14 senior players, so that means they're going to have 3 subs at this point to play Spurs.
Okay.
And obviously Ashley Young, who was starting right back for them because of their injury crisis, he's fast approaching 40. He's now suspended.
Ashley Young, not young. Ashley old.
No, Ashley, old boy.
Yeah.
Um, yeah, so I'll have to keep an eye on that one. I'm semi tempted, if Kieran Trippier does go to Everton, if Everton have got a good front of fixtures, I might do it, because I'm pretty sure he's going to play 90 every week and they won't hook him because they've got no one else to play in that position.
Mm-hmm.
That's the only thing I can think of. That, and obviously he's not really playing to strikers of Isak and Wilson's level, but Calvert-Lewin is still a really good striker,
Mm.
and he has been crying out for service. So that would be, Trippier is usually good for about a year, 18 months, and then he tails off and becomes absolutely terrible at a club.
Hmm.
think he just becomes unsettled. So yeah, it would make Njai or Calvert-Lewin very good picks for Trippier. So that's another reason I'm tempted to roll the transfer. If I roll the transfer, I have 2 in game week 3. I'm probably going to want Haaland by game week 3 because he's gone and got 5 against Ipswich, and I don't even have him, let alone not captaining him. Yeah, so they're the 2 options. They're not really options; they're just sort of theorizing. Like if I really wanted to do something just to have something in the Man City game, but I don't really need to. My team looks good enough as it is. I mean, if Porro's fit, he's at home to Everton, and if Everton have only got 14 starters, they got absolutely turned over by Brighton. So I would really hope that we could do the same at home, Tottenham. That is. Fulham looked really good against Manchester United, and
Yeah.
they're at home to Leicester. And Leicester were really, really bad in the first half against Tottenham.
Actually
They
watched
were
that one.
basically
Yeah.
hanging on. Yeah, I didn't get to watch it. I just saw the stats and read the reports.
Oh yeah,
So
it was all Tottenham, and then second half Leicester scored, and then they were on top for a bit, and then it fizzled
that was
out.
it.
But yeah.
So I'd be tempted to. Rephrase that. I'm not tempted. I am playing all 3 for my Fulham players. Fulham have actually had a very good window as well. They're about to get Anderson from Crystal Palace, which is such a good signing,
hmm
which makes Robinson even better as a pick for me.
Robinson
Yeah.
looked really good.
He looked great, but the
hmm
only other issue is there's a rumor he might go to Man United before the window shuts. Which, if he does, I don't think I want him anymore.
No, that'd be annoying.
So I did okay with my 4 million defender pick because Okoli is incredibly low owned and he didn't play. So nor
Awesome.
did Barco. Barco was highly owned by everyone. He's now going on loan to Sevilla, and now people had to sell him before a price drop. Kwanzaa was the other one. Everyone sneaked Kwanzaa in before the deadline last week because they thought, oh, Liverpool keep a clean sheet against Ipswich.
hmm
Kwanzaa got hooked at half time. So
mm. The frustrations of game week 1.
yeah. Kwanzaa's already had a price drop. So if you didn't get rid of him, you've now got a 4.4 million defender, which means you can only go to a 4 million defender, and there are not many of them that are decent.
hmm
So, but yeah, I mean,
I
my
don't
bench
actually know
isn't.
if I've had any price rises or drops in my team. I need to check that.
I don't know if there's been any price rises, but there have been a drops. There've been like Rodri drops, Kwanzaa drops. I think Conor Gallagher had a price drop, which is
hmm
quite funny because he's not going to be in FPL anymore. Um, and there was like 1 or 2 others that had some price drops. I was fairly comfortable in my team because I didn't really go for any massive gambles. Coley is a 4 million player I've got, but he's 0.2% owned. That's no one. So the
Mm.
chance of him getting a price drop are slim. Plus, I got 1.5 million in the bank, so I could bump him up to a 5.5 if I needed to. But again, my bench is in Bomo away to Liverpool, which I'm not happy about benching him, and then Hall
Uh,
away to Bournemouth. So but I've got a bench in Bumo because Muniz needs to find his way into the starting lineup somehow.
yeah, I think I
And
might be benching Livramento again, which I'm not too happy about.
no,
But
it's not great.
yeah,
I'm just doing it because I I made quite a strong starting team for
mm.
first time in quite some time. So, but yeah, I don't think my captaincy will change. Even if I got semi excited by the idea that Everton, I've only got 14 players, having Solanke should be differential enough still at this point.
Yeah, I wouldn't say
Gordon,
Solanke exactly set the world on fire on Monday night. So
he was fine. I mean, he's not had a lot of training sessions, so you can't. And plus, they weren't getting the ball to him to have chances. So we only
mm,
had 4 shots all game. You
hmm,
can't really do much if you don't give the man supply, which is
true.
another reason, like I said, why I kind of sort of semi like Trippier, because Calvert-Lewin is normally starved of supply, so he has to get a scrappy goal. But if he's actually getting balls sort of sprayed into him from free kicks, corners, and just during the run of play from the right side, he's probably going to get a lot more goals, right? So,
Maybe.
um,
But then it's
and yeah,
like you said, it's 6 million for an Everton defender. That
it is,
that
yeah.
good.
That
Mm.
that's game week 3 or 4's problem. Probably game week 4's after the international break.
Yeah, and it's
Um,
Everton. Give it a few weeks, then they'll start getting clean sheets.
yeah, they'll definitely start getting clean sheets. That's
Yeah.
that's a for sure. The one I'd be worried about now, which a lot of people started with, is Crystal Palace, because they sold
Mm.
Anderson to Fulham, and Mark Gay's about to go to Newcastle, which means they've sold both of their centre backs.
It's not ideal.
And in historical terms, teams that normally sell both of their centre backs don't have a good season.
Nope.
So
Oh, it's Championship Manager 2000, 2001 all over again. Is that right?
Middlesbrough,
Yep. Egg and Southgate. Don't
yeah,
sell them.
exactly. Don't
Otherwise,
either sell
once you're
one,
going
but don't
down.
sell both.
Yep.
But that's the thing. If selling both, even with Palace, just seems madness. And
Mm.
they're not done there. I mean, they've agreed to sell Jordan Ayew today to Leicester. They are having a fire sale of players. So I assume
Bloody hell.
they're bringing some in, but
You'd hope so. When there was a bit of fan unrest towards the end of last season, I'm sure um,
that was
that
before
that's just going to get worse.
Hodgson got sacked. But yeah, I mean, if they sell all their players and give Glasner very little to work with,
Mm.
that's going to cause quite a significant issue. I mean, I pick who you think's going to start centre back for him this weekend. Richards. I don't know who else. I don't know the depth of their
No.
centre backs, to be honest. So
Mm.
that'll be interesting to see if that makes them a far worse team. I mean,
Yeah.
and we
Might have
still
to
don't know if
move.
Eze's leaving.
Might have to move Mitchell on.
Yeah, I mean, he becomes less of an appealing option if you've
Hmm.
sold their Danish and England international centre backs for potentially an unknown quantity.
Yeah.
Because I don't know whose centre backs they raid. There's so many transfers that are sort of still happening or could happen. It's hard to really keep abreast of all of them. But
When uh when does the transfer window end or
it will
close?
be, so when does the 31st fall on? 31st falls on a Saturday, so it might be Tuesday the 3rd of September,
Right.
because it normally can't. We normally do it that it doesn't fall on a day where a league game's happening.
Right.
So maybe no Saturday, no Sunday,
So
and if there's a game Monday,
still a good week or so to go then.
yeah, a week and a bit, 2 weeks,
Hmm.
possibly 2 weeks,
Yeah.
and things ramping up. Like Fulham, like I said, they're not just bringing in Anderson; they're bringing in a couple of names.
Yeah.
So they're looking at, they bought Sander Berger as well today.
Mm.
So
Yeah,
they
they're doing some good bits. I think they'll be alright. They'll
I think
do
I
well.
think there'll be. I'm a lot calmer with the business they've done in the last week and a half than I was about 3 weeks ago after they'd sold Polina, and then
Hmm.
they didn't even have Smith Rowe at that point.
Hmm.
So yeah, and then I just need to hope that this team does okay. Ariola's looking a lot better proposition against a Palace team that's about to be decimated. So,
Hmm. Hmm.
but I bought, I'm running a 4-5 and a 4 goalkeeper combo from the same team. I wasn't expecting many points from this, if I'm being honest, because Ariola's game next week is Manchester City. So if
Yeah.
I get something at Palace,
West Ham
I'll smile.
didn't look great. I expected
No,
more from them. I was thinking, oh, I think West Ham are going to do all right, and they did not.
they gave a lot of debuts,
Mm,
so that was the other thing. Plus, there's been fan unrest about hiking of ticket prices and stuff. So
mm, yeah.
it is. I don't think they're going to buy any more because I don't think they've got any more money. I think they'll be focusing on outgoings. Maybe they get one or two more.
Mm.
But I'd be fairly confident with West Ham because they got Wan-Bissaka, they got Jean-Claire, Todibo, who's quality.
Oh yeah, I mean
Uh,
the business they've done seems pretty
yeah,
good, but
not all of them started. Todibo didn't start.
yeah.
Wan-Bissaka didn't start. Kilman was the only one who started, and he's had a full pre-season there, so fair play.
Hmm.
Um, yeah, but like I said, I think I'm just forcing transfers as opposed to actually. I don't. There's no necessity. I've got a decent captaincy option this week in Salah, and
I do feel like the new rule and being able to build up your transfers up to five. I think it's going to make maybe transfers a bit more don't know, sensible, scarce maybe.
I don't know. I don't know. It'll
I
it
don't.
frees you.
It's early days, but yeah. But
There
it
are a
is
lot of
something else to
people that
think about. 'Cause you think, oh, do you know what? If I hold off a week, I get two next week, and if I hold off again, I get three, and yeah.
there is that to it. So you don't have to play your wild card, but then
Hmm.
that also does mean that you have to be patient.
Mm,
And notoriously, not a lot of people in FPL are patient, as seen
no,
by the fluctuation in price drops in some players.
yeah.
A lot of people are. I think Gordon's got over 100,000 transfers out this week, but it wasn't his fault
No,
in Newcastle's opening game. If you played 10 men for over an hour, what's he expected to do, kind of thing, you know?
yeah. And I feel like we need 1 week's not enough to lay your hat anywhere. So
No, I
I feel
mean, I
like you
get
need
that.
another week to go. Ah, see what's going on now, what teams are in form and stuff like that. So.
I get that people are. There are some people with absolute um, structured wildcard plans, which is game week 4,
Hmm.
because by then the transfer window's shut, the international break's done, so you kind of know where teams are going and what they're
Yeah.
going to have. Um, whether that will pay off is another question. But at the same time, if you've had a bad start, you've only got like 30 points game week 1.
Mm.
You're probably counting the days down for a game week 4 wild card, you know. And the
Yeah,
thing with that is
I've been there. You have a bad game week one, yeah, and
exactly
you just
you're
press the
frustrated. You
yeah,
want to hit it. Some people are hitting it already for game week 2,
yeah.
but I mean the good thing with the game week 4 wild card is if you don't make a single transfer leading up to it, game week 5 you've got what 5 free transfers. So
Yep.
even if you absolutely spoon your wild card up,
Mhm.
you can just transfer those players out.
Yep.
So there is more flexibility. Whether it will benefit either of us is a different question.
Mm.
It's too early to tell.
And I've been there before as well, where you have a bad game week one, you change everything for game week two, and then all the players you had in game week one that you've transferred out do really well.
Yeah, and then you're
So
just
yeah,
banging your head on the table and going, "Oh."
yep.
It's like at the moment
My
there's
classic
quite.
one was I went for Mane game week one, and Salah absolutely smashed it. So then I was like so stressed that I went and got Salah for Mane, and then Mane smashed it in game week two. And
Yeah,
yeah, that
that's
was bad.
chasing points. That is what's happening with a lot of people. They are
Yeah.
indefinitely just chasing points, and you're like, yeah, it's probably not smart either, you know.
So I'm getting old now. I'm wise. I know this now. So
Well, we both did better than the average, so it
mm,
shows steadfast improvement.
yeah,
Whether
But
we can keep that up all season is obviously a different
it's
question.
yeah.
But for
Well,
now,
we'll see. I mean, I think I'm still fatigued from my end to last season because it was bad, and
that's true.
I think I'm still I'm still down from it. So it's not great,
No,
but I
well,
might perk up. We'll see.
well, you had a decent enough game week one, right?
Yeah, yeah. I guess we could move on. Have a look at my team.
That's what we call segueing.
That is a
That was
good
seamless.
segue. Yeah, so in terms of my game week one, 71 points. I'm 1.21 million in the world. Uh, my high scorer was Porro with 9. My low score was Murphy, as we discussed, but not really his fault. Um,
No,
Obviously, the red card didn't help and he got hooked. And Cap C, yeah, not too bad. I captained Haaland, like quite a lot of people, and that wielded 14 points. So unfortunately, the same as Salah. So having and captaining Salah would have been the best option, but there you go. We live and learn. Should have known. Should have known that one.
yeah.
But
If Haaland scores more this week,
yeah,
and then the overall from the 2 game weeks, Haaland got more than Salah. It's not been a bad move.
in a way, it was that choice, wasn't it? It was Haaland or Salah. It would have been difficult to have both. Probably not impossible, but
It's not
quite.
impossible. A lot of people do have both, but you wouldn't be able to have probably Saka
Yeah,
like we've got.
I do not have Saka.
Okay, like I've got.
Yeah,
I have Saka for definite, but
no.
yeah, if I'd had both, I couldn't have had Saka, and I don't think I could have had Gordon.
I did.
So
I did make some last minute changes to the team I showed last week. So I took Sun out because I did have Sun.
yes,
But I switched Sun out, brought Solanke in, and I brought Semenyo in and Kudus, I think I brought in.
I'm included this.
And that allowed me to get Isak as well. So I did a fair few changes to what I originally planned in the end, but which actually didn't work out too. Oh, I had Chris Wood, so Wood
It,
scored.
yeah, Chris Wood had a great game for Nottingham Forest.
Yeah,
I think he got
but
9 points, didn't he?
really I switched Wood out for Semenyo. So
Yes.
I didn't really lose out on any points. I gained points there. So I'd say I broke even on my changes. So it wasn't too bad.
That's all you can ask for.
Yeah.
And Semenyo might start up front again, although I assume their new signing will start eventually, Eva Nilsson.
Yeah, that was the reason I decided to go for him in the end because I thought with Solanke gone, he'll probably be the man up top. Their fixtures look alright the next few
I knew
weeks.
they'd
So
buy a striker. I didn't realise they'd go and get one from Porto for nearly 50 million, which is
mm,
is a show of intent, which is fair play.
yeah, so might change that. I think that's obviously where I'm looking around my midfield, potentially changing some stuff. So yeah, but yeah,
And what's your budget?
I'll run through my team.
Oh yeah, sorry, I've jumped the
Uh,
gun.
yeah. So Edison in goal, Saliba, Trent, Porro at the back. Obviously, waiting to see on Porro's injury. But if it's not too bad, even if he doesn't play this week, I got Livramento on the bench coming on. So my midfield is Kudus, Semenyo, Smith Rowe, and Jota. And then up front, I've got Isak, Haaland captain, and Solanke, with a bench of Areola, Livramento, Murphy, and Mitchell. Budget for transfers. So if I get, it depends who I sell. I think Kudus is 6.5.
5 years.
So if I get rid of him, I can get to 7 million. Hence having a little look at. the 7 million options of midfielders.
Yes.
Smith Rowe Murphy would get me to 6 million, so I'd be looking at cheaper.
That text is small.
Yeah.
I'm squinting. I'm squinting like an old boy.
Yeah, probably. That table's too big. There's too much information. You need to cut it down, really. It's a
Or
top.
have a
It's a
way of
top
zooming in
10
when you
on points, and
from game week
it's
1.
Kovacic at the top.
Yes, he scored for Man City against his former club.
Yeah, but I probably wouldn't go there. Joe Linton, Anana of Villa,
Yeah, Amadou Onana.
and Brumo. That's not a bad one. That's not a bad shout.
Bumo's great. I love him,
Yeah.
Bumo.
Matoma. Brighton look good. Someone like wouldn't mind getting
Is he
Matoma there.
7 million or is he 6.5?
6.5.
That's fantastic. I didn't realize he was.
7
I
mil
think he's
what
the most.
under. Yeah.
I think Matoma's the most expensive of their midfielders, right? So
Hmm.
you are paying for a premium. They
But
do have a lot of midfielders now.
the other one, the new one, Mintu or Minte,
Minte,
he looks good as well. So
he's only 5,
he'd
5.
be he'd be tempting. Surprised he's not on
He
there
went up.
actually. He got an assist,
Well, he
didn't
went
he?
off at half time. He suffered a
Oh yeah.
concussion,
Yeah.
but he's
That's
been
annoying.
cleared to play this week.
Okay.
Because concussion protocol, I think, is 5 to 7 days. So
Yeah. What's that one? Fatua, Leicester.
Fatwa for Leicester, yeah, he's a
Yeah.
good player.
I'm guessing he got the assist then for the goal.
He did. He was very, very good.
Yeah.
He's He's a player of genuine quality.
Mhm.
If Vardy can get fit and stay to a competent level of fitness,
Just bang a red ball at half time like he did. That seemed to work.
yes, he was. Well, he said he was great until like the 65th minute, and he said then he was just done. Everything just sort of fell to pieces at once, which is not bad considering I don't think he played at all in pre-season.
He had a really good chance before he got hooked. He was clear through, and it's a
Yes, he was.
few years ago he would have tucked it away. But yeah,
Oh yeah, no doubt.
yeah,
I mean, he's 37 now, though. I mean, he probably would have tucked it away if he was not rusty. You know, if he'd
yeah,
had like 10 Premier League games, he's probably burying that.
yeah.
Job done kind of thing. So he might be an option if he continually starts games and he gets at least 70. He is worth considering if you need a cheap striker option. It's just at the moment my cheapest striker is Muniz, who's 6 million, and I've still got 1.5 in the bank, so I don't really need to worry. You know.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
I guess if you sell Smith Rowe though, you only have 6 million.
Yeah.
So Kudus is the more
So
preferable one to be sold.
Smith Rowe or Murphy would only get me to 6 million. So yeah, I'd have to look. Yeah, cheaper. But there's a few options there.
Yeah. The only problem I would highlight potentially with Nkunku is he played this evening in the Europa Conference. He did an hour. I don't think that will affect him starting. It might affect him getting 90 for Chelsea.
Yeah, that's a bit of an outsider one. I'm basing it still on pre-season because he did all right in pre-season, and Chelsea's fixtures next three look okay, pretty good.
Yeah, I mean Chelsea's fixtures, I think from now until game week 6 or 7 are quite good. If you think that team's going to gel, because they struggled even in today's Europa Conference. They won 2-0, but you can see it's going to take a bit to get used to the new system, which is exactly what happened with Pochettino. And then by the time they got used to it, Pochettino got sacked. So maybe that's an omen.
Yeah.
I mean, there was more questions around the vast number of players before the match and then the day before than there was about the match itself and whatnot else. So, and I'm sure there will be many more questions like that until the window shuts, because you can only register 24, 25 players, and I think they said they've got 42.
Bloody hell.
That's a lot, you
Yeah.
know. And there, a lot of clubs are going to know that if they play hardball and refuse to buckle to Chelsea's demands and wait until the last few days, Chelsea might have to go, okay, and lower, their demands, or
Mm,
offer to pay a significant amount of the wages of that player.
yeah.
Don't get me wrong, I wouldn't mind Sterling at Tottenham as a
Mm,
direct right winger on a loan for a year. If we're only paying 50% of his wages,
mm,
he wants to get back in England team, so he's
mm,
got a chip on his shoulder, and he wants to prove people wrong, that he's not, done and dusted. And that's the kind of player that's great to have. Spurs had it with Adebayor quite a long time ago now, but
mm.
we've had a knack for getting a good loan player in that can be great for one season. I wouldn't want Sterling long term because he's on far too much money, but I wouldn't mind him for a season. But yeah, so Nkunku possibly concern around that, or as well. Palmer left field injured, holding, I think it was his hamstring or his thigh,
Mm.
so
Oh,
he could be out for several weeks.
that's not good.
That's not good. But
No.
Chelsea, I just got through saying, they've got 42 players. So
Yeah, so I mean, they got cover, so
yeah,
yeah.
and I'm sure they're going to buy 3 or 4 more. The one
Probably.
they're
Yeah.
definitely being linked with is Osman,
Right.
so he could be coming in to play up front from Napoli. So,
Bloody hell.
and they got João Felix obviously this week.
Mm.
Kind of makes a lot of their options not really. It puts you off.
Yeah. Yeah, yeah, it
I
does,
mean,
yeah. It's
even Palmer now. Last season you'd go with Palmer because you knew Pochettino was picking him, but this season Palmer's 10.5 million,
hmm
and you don't know if he's going to be rotated out. You don't know where he's going to play in the attacking line. You kind of knew with Pochettino where he was playing.
yeah.
There's a lot of unanswered questions early on, and for 500,000 less, I'd rather just play Saka.
Yeah.
So
Yeah. I mean, I've put Nkunku as an option there, but I think I'm the same as you. I don't think I'm going to make a change. Like I said, we've only had 1 week. Um, the midfielders I have highlighted didn't score that well for me last week, but it could all change this week. West Ham, like you said, Palace. If they're selling all their defenders, Kudus could have a field day. Uh,
Well, it's not just. I mean, Kudus looked good in the first game as well, even though West Ham
mm,
overall looked quite bad.
yeah,
He did have a decent game.
yeah.
Um,
Smith Rowe looked alright. It was against
Smith,
United, but
Smith
against
Rowe looked
Leicester,
great,
he could have a
but it's
great
Leicester at
game.
home. He
Yeah.
could, and
And Murphy,
yeah,
I've got him on the bench. Had a great pre-season. Could do really well. And I
well, I'd
I
be
could be ruining it. I mean, I got a high score on my bench last week because I had Livramento and who else did I have on my bench that scored? I can't remember now. Sure, I had someone. I had two
yeah.
scores on my bench. It's a bit annoying. It was Smith Rowe. I had Smith Rowe on my bench. He got 3 points. So,
He did, yeah.
but yeah, so I had 12 points on my bench. It's a bit annoying, but
It is what it is, right?
I
Just
don't count the goalie because I picked Edison. Edison got 8. Ariola got 1. So yeah,
yeah. Um, I knew Edison would be a good opening pick, but he did his best to try and lose his clean sheet against Chelsea. In all fairness, he does seem to go. His head seems to be not there. So I don't know if that's
Man
because he
City
still
always
wants to.
do that. Yeah, they always are quite frustrating where they let in a silly goal. They still win, but
That's true,
they love to let in like a really silly goal that you're like, oh really? Come on.
but he's definitely. in this instance, playing like suicide football almost.
Mm.
Like he was just given the that wobble that Allison had a couple of years back, where he just kept kicking the ball out to players on the opposition, and then they just scored straight off of him. Kind of feels like that.
It's getting bored. Just wanted a challenge.
Well, yeah, he's getting bored and he wants to go and play in Saudi Arabia for lots of money, doesn't he?
Yeah.
But yeah, there's not really any real reason for us to rock the boat, like I said, because
Mm.
we got 70 odd points as well.
Yeah.
Even if we had a game week where we got 50 odd, but the average was like 47 or something,
Mm-hmm.
it would you'd go, oh, that's bad, but we still have 2 transfers in game week 3 and fixtures turn again, So,
Yeah.
and I don't think we've picked anyone, at least in our teams thus far. There's no one that's a dramatic risk of tumbling in price. None of us
No,
have got Fabian share or anything like that. So
I think all our players are pretty steady. Probably my most worrying one, based on what we talked about Palace, is Mitchell. I guess that could be a worry.
I don't think he won't have a price drop,
No.
not anytime soon. But with them potentially selling both their centre backs, the chances of him keeping a clean sheet are probably not very high.
Yeah.
But then a lot of people
But
started the season with
he's
Henderson.
cheap anyways. 4.5, I think. So.
Yeah, he's a 4-5 defender, so it's fair
So.
enough. That I think the concerns for some though is a lot of people started the season with Henderson in goal,
Right.
and Henderson, if it, I mean, like I said, I've got Areola on the basis I wasn't expecting a lot of points in the opening 4 or 5
Mm-hmm.
because West Ham obviously getting up to scratch, but I'm assuming a lot more people were expecting more clean sheets for Palace in their opening 5 because one, they got good fixtures, and two, they had a good defence, which had
Mm-hmm.
Mitchell, Anderson, Gay, and Henderson in it,
Mm-hmm.
and they were about to lose 2 of those 4.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So, you never know. I mean, a 4 million defender might take that slot and
Mm.
start playing at centre back. Um, I think the rumor was Wolfsburg centre back. I'm going to get his name wrong here. Lecroix, he's French. He used to play centre back pairing with Van der Ven. I
Mm.
really like him. If Palace do sign him and they sign him for next to nothing, he'll be. He could be the next sort of top defender they have that goes for big money in a couple of years' time.
Mm.
But again, he'd be new to the league, and
Yeah.
it's not always guaranteed that they'll hit the ground running. Like Van der Ven hit the ground running, and thank Christ he did. But
Mm.
there have been a fair few centre backs that have had a rough time, rough go of it. Calvin Bassey comes to mind of Fulham. He had quite a bad start last season in the Premier League, and
Yeah.
then he almost against Man United at the start of this season.
Yep.
He was doing so well. He was having such a good game, and then he just airballed. And I was like, "Oh no, please don't concede on the basis of that, because that would be just really unfortunate." So,
Yeah. He seems to play on the edge, Bassey. Yeah.
well, they are playing him right centre back, and he's left-footed, so
Mm.
you can give him that. That's why Anderson has now been brought in clearly to play that role,
Mm.
which means I guess Bassey's about to become a squad player as opposed to a starter.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, he's definitely a man that's comfortable with a gamble, I guess is the best way to describe that.
Mm-hmm.
He reminds me of a bit like Senderos, because you never used to
Mm.
know what Senderos would do, and you're like, oh no. And there will be games where
Badly,
Senderos,
usually.
whilst there, I mean, at Fulham, there were games at Fulham where Senderos was absolutely fantastic. You'd like, God, why did Arsenal ever sell him? And then he'd do something like really, really ridiculous. You'd be like, oh yeah, that's
Oh
why they
yeah.
sold him. Now I remember. So
Yep.
yeah, there's there's still a lot up in arms, and thankfully we've had a good start. So there's no need to
No.
panic sell, panic buy. Even if Poro's out, it looks like neither of us are going to make a transfer anyway.
No, don't think so. So yeah, unless
Yeah.
it turned out to be something similar, but I think it's just a knock, isn't it? I don't think it was anything major. So
Well, he managed to still run.
yeah,
It looked like it was obviously sore. So
yeah.
I would imagine if he doesn't play in this one, maybe a week or two tops. I mean, if we find out he's out for like 4 months, then I would be
Oh yeah.
very tempted to go from Porro to Jed Spence, to be honest.
Mm,
Or Porro, you've already got Livramento. I can't get there because I've got too many Newcastle. But yeah, I think Jed Spence would be my straight to stick, job done.
yeah. I don't know. Yeah, I've not thought of defenders, so yeah, I'd have to think about that.
Yeah, there's no
But
need
yeah,
to now. There's no unless we get something tomorrow in the press conferences, then
yeah,
we're comfortable as we are.
yeah. Right. Well, we should look at our FPL4 then. With about players. So I've obviously had a little think about a defender
You had a little
because I've
thinking.
had to pick FPL4. In terms of last week, our picks were quite good last week. You got
I thought they were.
22 points,
Hell yeah.
and Salah was your top scorer with 14.
Goddamn right it was.
But I got 38 points.
That's because you went for Salah, Haaland, and you
Porro
threw the kitchen sink at it.
and Raya, so all my players returned.
Yeah.
Yeah. So yeah, it was very good. Uh,
I wanted
pick
to
of four
save
players.
Haaland for game week 2 because I knew they had in game week 2, you see.
Yeah, that yeah, that has that may have caused me some problems this week. So because I did want to put Haaland in when I
Can't
looked,
do
I was
that.
like, oh, it's Ipswich. Oh, I see. Yeah, that is a problem.
Unlucky. I tell you one player that you didn't mention actually, because you said you had a budget of 657.
Mm,
Doku would be quite good for this week and next week because
mm.
Man City have lost quite a few players to injury. So, and
Yeah, that's
Doku
true.
started last week. So I think Doku would be quite good this week against Ipswich, and then next week they've got West Ham. So it'd be good for 2 or 3 if you decided you wanted to make that transfer or you needed to.
Yeah, so consideration. Yeah, yeah. If I want to jump on that fixture, if I think yeah, Man City are
I
gonna
just,
do
I
well.
was, I'm sure it was well, it definitely was last season because that's when they signed him. But there was one game where I maybe it was Sheffield United, and I held off getting him, but I think I put him in FPL4 and he went and got, what was it, 21, 27 points, and
Mm,
he absolutely run riot. It just feels like it could be set up for that. Ipswich weren't bad against Liverpool per
no,
se, but
yeah.
you can see that there was a learning curve
Mm,
for them entering the Premier League, and I know really they'll just want to not get a good hiding against
mm,
City. They'll only want to lose like 2-0 if possible. But I think if Man City start strong and get 2 or 3 in the first half, it could easily be 6 or 7, and I could be crying myself to sleep for the
hmm.
next 2 weeks because I don't have Haaland or any Man City.
I mean, I have gone for a City midfielder in this, but I've gone for Bernardo Silva. So
Bernardo Silva.
yeah, I could have
Look at
gone
you.
Doku though. I think I did. I did have Doku listed. I did think about that,
Yeah, I
but
mean, if I wasn't going Haaland this week, I would have probably gone Doku.
mm, yeah. Oh well, too late now. But I could bring him in my team, so
Yeah, there
it's
you
an
go.
option. What is he though?
Six
7.
five.
6'5". So I could, yeah, I
You could
can
get
get
to him
to
from Kudus. It's straight swap.
Judas. Yeah, 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 maybe. Yeah, probably better than Kudos.
Well, Kudus is game week 3 fixtures, Man City.
Yeah,
So if you were basing it on the next 2 or so, there is that.
yeah, I like it.
There
Might
you
do
go.
that.
See,
Might do that.
I'm here dropping dimes,
There you go. Yep.
unable to get him myself because who do I bench for my team?
But yeah, the rest of our players, FPL4, you've gone Leno, James Justin, Jota, and as we said, Haaland. I've gone for Allison, Robinson, Bernardo Silva, and Chris Wood.
Yes, he would.
Yeah.
They're away to Southampton, right?
Yeah. And
So he's
obviously,
probably worth a go.
had him in my team, took him out, he scored. As I said, it wasn't too bad because of the players I brought in, kind of matched what he did anyway. Um, but yeah, I mean, he had good pre-season, scored first game week. Southampton could be a good fixture. It is away, but yeah, thought I'd tuck him in, give him a go. Yeah.
Yeah, there's no complaints there. I mean, a newly promoted team. Southampton struggled against Newcastle, even though Newcastle only had 10.
Yep.
So I'd say that you're in good hands there.
hmm We're both banking
Oops.
on Fulham clean sheet by the looks of it as well, potentially.
I'll level with you. I looked at all the fixtures, and because I'd already picked the Liverpool and Man City, I think they're the two most likely for clean sheets. I was then clutching at
Mm.
straws. Um, I don't know if Fulham will keep a clean sheet. That's why I picked their goalkeeper, because Leno tends to make quite a few saves. He tends to be busy. No matter what game, Leno is busy.
Mm.
Um, so that was my reasoning really for that one. And then I also gone for James Justin, so he's playing in the same fixture.
Yeah.
So
You
I
love
mean,
James Justin though. So yeah.
I do love James Justin. He's quality.
Yeah. Yeah.
Plus, you never know how long he's going to have until his next injury comes around the corner and
Yeah.
robs him of his season. So I thought I better get him in early in case Leicester do surprise and win 1-0, which are absolutely balls up my FPL team, but at least
mm.
it'll give me a chance to catch some points up on you on FPL4.
Yeah. And Jota had a good first game week. Obviously, I've got him. So since he
Yes.
played up top, he's another one though. You might as well pick him while he's not injured.
It's not just the way he's not injured as well. It's for how long you think he'll keep that starting spot, because
Yeah.
Darwin Nunez is still there.
Yeah.
I mean, if Darwin left on loan before the window shut, he won't. But if he did,
Mm.
then I'd have to go and get Jota, because he would just be, you know, number one front man.
Yeah.
He's not going to get. He's not going to be like under Klopp, where he would be dropped suddenly, and you're sitting there basically banging your head against the table. Although I can't see that happening. I just I you know that's why I think I put him in FPL4, because it was
Yeah.
good
I
fixture.
got him into my team to cover Salah. Obviously, Salah outscored him, but I was glad to see him get a return. So I think if he didn't get a
Yeah,
return, I'd be more upset this week about missing out on the
he could
Salah
have
points. But
he could have got more than one return.
yeah,
He should have got more than one return really this week.
yeah,
Diaz, I think it was, that didn't pass and took the
good
shot on
point.
himself and missed.
hmm
So it was a good game. Watching that gave me a better idea of Ipswich. Ipswich are going to be really good though, and I don't know where they're finding all this money from, but they're still bringing in players. Um, they're bringing in Jack Clark, ex Tottenham boy who's currently at Sunderland, and they agreed to bring in Broyer on loan, which is the
That's not
most
bad.
curious one, because they brought him in on loan, but it will become an obligation to buy him for 30 million if they
Oh,
survive. That's a lot of
right, okay.
money for Broyer.
Bloody
You
hell,
know,
yeah. Yeah, although he could be good. He's got
I don't
potential.
see it could be good. He's got potential, but he needs a clear run of games. And what he doesn't need is what happened at Fulham when he joined them, where a young player emerges and basically punts him to the bench, so he's just
Yeah.
sitting there getting splinters again, the poor bastard.
Yeah, true, true. But yeah. So yeah, we'll have to see how we go on. I think you've gone for more of the bigger guns this week. I've gone for more outsider picks, I'd
Well, I
say.
don't own Haaland, so
No.
that's why I saved him for game week 2 because I knew it was going to be pain.
Or Jota. You don't own Jota either, do you? No. So
I don't own Jota, but
no.
I can live with Jota getting points.
Mhm.
Haaland going and getting like 4 goals is going to
Mhm.
remind me of like 2 years ago when I didn't start with Haaland, and then he went and got
Mm.
back-to-back hat tricks, and I still didn't own him, and I went, oh, I'm not going to own him, and then it got to like game week 10, and then I was like, I'm going to have to own him, and because he's already rocketed in price, and I don't own him. And by that point, I was too far behind. I was too far behind, and then we broke for the World Cup. So I
Yeah.
had 6+ weeks in the middle of Christmas to think about my poor decision making.
Fun
So
times. Yeah.
yeah, so again, I've covered my base. I'm hoping he
Mhm.
doesn't get a mammoth score, but if he does, at least he'll catch me up with you on this.
True. Yep. Definitely will. But Chris
Maybe I'll
Wood's
put a
going to
bet on
outscore him, so it's fine.
up the Chrissy Woods. I hope he does. It'd be funny if he was the top scoring striker going into the international break.
That would be funny, yeah.
Because Nottingham Forest are allegedly in for Eddie Nketiah, so
Yeah.
maybe they'll just pull the plug. They'll be like, we don't need him. We got Chris Wood.
Yeah. Could be. Yeah. When is the international break? When is that coming up? It's
That
not
literally
not after this game week, right?
not no, not this weekend. The weekend after. So
Okay.
basically, after the fixtures are finished next weekend,
Mhm.
transfer window shut, and
Yeah.
most of them will be on their way to their respective international
Uh,
teams if they get called up.
yeah.
So it's going to be quite hectic for the next 10 days.
Yeah. Yeah. I find that really annoying, that international break. So you just get going and then they go, oh, right, 2 weeks off now. You're like, oh, great.
2 weeks. Yeah.
Brilliant. Yeah.
Count yourself
Thanks for
lucky.
that.
At one point they were trying to make it like 3 weeks long, so they could fit 3 fixtures in at the beginning. You're like, please don't do that.
Yeah. I think, yeah. 2 weeks is bad enough.
Yeah, 2 weeks is harsh. 3 weeks is just like Christ.
Yeah.
I'll be coping with this, lads.
No. No, not good.
No.
But yeah, cool.
Yeah.
Right. Well, I think on that note, we can wrap it up there. Yeah. Thanks everyone for listening. Obviously, good luck for game week 2. You can follow us on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram at Average FPLers. And if you want to join our mini league, the code is SJBCYQ. Um, yeah, we'll be back next week. See obviously how we go on, and give our preview for game week 3. So yeah, until then, take care. We'll see you soon. Bye bye.
Ta-ra.